We laid down support for the 105s to get through this roadblock, because we were surrounded. And when it come our turn to go, it was nighttime. And that's bad then. You don't move an outfit down the road in the middle of the night when you're surrounded, you know. And that's when they hit us hard there. Yeah. Because we was right up there next to the Yale River when we got captured, Cooneree. And that's a long ways. I don't know how many miles it was back there. But I think the reason they walked us, you know, every night when they captured us, I don't think they knew what to do with us, really. And that's the reason for walking us all winter, I think. But before we got to the camp there, they pulled the wounded out, and it was about a day's walk from the camp. And they said we were going to receive medical care, you know. But we'd been eating this rice all winter. Well, they give us a bowl of rice. And these guys froze their feet. This one day, it was a cold sucker. And they put us in this old schoolhouse, I think it was. And you didn't dare sleep that day or lay down or nothing because you'd freeze. It was cold. I was guessing 30 below zero and windy. But when we got to this place there, they said we was going to get medical care. Well, these guys that froze their feet were rotten, their toes, you know. But I looked pretty good, you know. I was always thin. And they got 4 of us to hold these guys when they cut their toes off in this plastic bucket. And that night, I know damn well that was a bucket that they served us rice with, you know. Pretty hard to eat it, but we ate it. We was hungry. The only thing we did when we was in the camp, basically, they'd have wood detail. They'd go up in the hills, and the Koreans had a deal on that you couldn't cut trees down there, but I guess the Chinese must have got authority to cut, you know, trees down to bring in to cook. We didn't have no heat or nothing. And I can recall that one day we was up in the hills to carry this trees back, basically. And I found an old dead crow laying there. Boy, I put him underneath my jacket, see, and I took it with me. Me and another guy, we got in a room, we stole a little wood to cook him with. We warmed him up good and ate him. But if they'd have catch us stealing that wood, we just stood down there in the square all day holding it above your head. We were cold, we were hungry, and we were trying to get some heat. We was burning the camp up, you know, that's what it added up to. Well, the second year, they give us a football and a basketball, and that was about it for activities, other than they'd set us up on the hill there and for propaganda reasons, and we'd have to listen to them say how bad the Americans was, you know, and all that stuff, and imperialism, you know, and that was about it. You just sat there and talk about eating and getting home. They were doing the propaganda. They're trying to get a lot of propaganda. And I tear their papers up and use it for cigarette and stuff. And I ended up there in the headquarters. They said, "You do that anymore, we're going to shoot you." So I quit doing it. If a person died, you know, we'd get his clothes, part of his clothes, and make like socks out of them. And when it got warm enough, it was loaded with lice. Great big ones, looked like big black ants. And when the sun would shine, we'd take our clothes off, you know, and kill them with our thumbs. But we was lucky in Camp 5 there, because we had this water back bay there. So we at least had a place to wash in the summertime there. And we did get rid of our lice. Well, it was kind of comical in the second year there, here come this young guy in. Well, he's all young back then. But he looked healthy, I got over to him and talking to him. And I says, where'd you get captured at? And he proceeded to tell me he was stationed in Okinawa. And, the bombers come over from Okinawa. And he said he was on the ground crew, but he said if he got on the plane and come over to Korea, he'd get combat pay. So he wanted to buy a camera, he said. Enough money to buy a camera. So he got on a B-29. Of course, you know what? He got shot down. And he ended up where we was. So I'd ask him every time I see him, you got enough money to buy that camera yet? When they liberated us there, they asked us, what we wanted to eat and stuff. And so they had a big tent. Of course, they deloused us and showered us and cleaned us up a little bit. And so I go in this tent and order steak and eggs and all that good stuff, Of course, our stomachs was shrank so bad we couldn't eat it, really. But then they put us on a helicopter. And that scared the living hell out of me. It just shook and vibrated, And when we got back to California, I got on a plane coming back to Iowa.